welcome to Last of the Romans NCAA 25 Texas and Notre Dame Dynasty, and we're in the SEC Championship with the number 2 Texas Longhorns, who are 11-1, going up against the number 5 Oklahoma Sooners, who are also 11-1. Other stories from around the league: Oregon is facing Penn State, Miami is facing Clemson in the ACC Championship, and Liberty is facing Jack State, and the winner of which will probably face Notre Dame in the wild card for the playoffs. Yeah, looking at the top 25, Notre Dame's still in first, 12-0 somehow. Though there were some very close calls in that season. I mean, we had what, 2 overtime wins, so yeah, it was a very lucky 12-0, and also not a lot of competition. There were like 3 big games: Texas A&M. What was the second game? Louisville, which, I mean, they were ranked, I believe 15 when we faced them, but they're now not ranked because they finished their season like 3-9? Yeah, 3-9. So yeah, not a lot of competition for Notre Dame. It was A&M, Louisville, and then FSU. Well, and then USC, but USC, both of those teams are 6-6, so really not a really strong strength of schedule for Notre Dame, I would say. For Texas, we had that loss against Oklahoma, so this will be the revenge game. Yeah, it was 49-42, a shootout. But good wins against Kentucky, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Michigan. But yeah, I think Trey Moore still leads in the Heisman race, which is crazy. Yep, there he is, number 1. 19 sacks, I think it was. 36 tackles for a loss. Riley Mills up there too, the defensive tackle for Notre Dame. Really, it should be Dylan Gabriel or maybe Ewers. I don't know why Ewers isn't anywhere on this, because he actually had a pretty good season, I would say. If we have a look at the season stats, yeah, almost, well, 3. You know, that's pretty close to 4,000 yards, so that's pretty good. 39 touchdowns, obviously a really good number of touchdowns, but 13 interceptions. That's way too high. Yeah, that's unacceptable, really. But 202 rating, so I guess it works out. And we won 11 games, so it wasn't like he was costing us games. The one game that we did lose was a shootout anyways, so needed the higher risk throws. 73% completion percentage is a lot better than I believe Riley Leonard's was. But 37 sacks, I have to see how that compares. I feel like that's really high. For the running back, Baxter, well, I should say running backs because we did use blue a bit. 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, no fumbles, notably. The Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame had like 6, I believe. We'll get to those later. Yeah, so 266 rushing yards for blue, 2 touchdowns. He didn't vulture too many. Bolden with 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns. Mario, our tight end, had 860 with 9 touchdowns. Golden, 827 with 8. 738 for Bond, 6 touchdowns. Niblett even had 3 touchdowns. And Gunnar Helm, the second string tight end, managed to get 2 touchdowns. Javian Cole with 104 tackles. Yeah, 36 tackles for a loss for Trey Moore, 19 sacks, even though he was injured for at least a game. For interceptions, it was Muhammad and Holmes. How many touchdowns? Yeah, it was 4 of 4 for Malik Muhammad. He had 4 pick sixes. Gavin Holmes, though, with 13 deflections as well. Kicking, awful. Yeah, it was awful. Somehow I hit a 57-yard field goal, apparently. I don't know when that happened, but that must have been really lucky. Punting, pretty bad, too. I had the slider turned down. Well, it was at 50. It needed to be at, like, 60, apparently. One touchdown on a kick return for Niblet, and one on a punt return. I think I'm just gonna make this video the stats, end of season stats for everything, so that it doesn't cut into the recording time for the actual game. Let's have a look at Notre Dame's then. So almost 4,000 yards passing for Riley Leonard as well. 41 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 65% of his passes completed. 177.8 rating, so not as good as Ewers. For running, Jeremiah Love, 1,200 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns, but 5 fumbles. That's not good. Price got done a lot of work, 429 yards, 8 touchdowns, which is pretty good for a backup. Receiving, Mitchell Evans, the tight end, was the leader, which is a bit unusual, but given that he is the highest rated receiver, I guess it was sensible to go to him. 13 touchdowns. Greathouse was our leading wide receiver, also 13 touchdowns, but 955 yards. Bo Collins was our third for receiving yards, 541, 5 touchdowns. Chris Mitchell, who I believe is actually first on the depth chart for wide receivers, only had 477 with 4, basically just used as a decoy. Cam Williams, the freshman, had 322 and 4 touchdowns. And then the backup tight end actually saw 22 catches with 261 yards and 2 touchdowns. Shrouth was given up the most sacks, as well as Jaguza. For tackles, it was Drake Bowen, who I had been controlling most of the time, getting the most tackles. 15 tackles for a loss as well. 29 for Riley Mills, though. 21 for Oben. Oben was hurt a few games, probably 3 weeks, I think. So he didn't get as many opportunities as Mills. But he was in the Heisman race, as believable as that is, for a little while. But then Mills took his spot after Oben missed the 3 games to, I believe, an upper arm fracture or something like that. Benjamin Morrison had 7 interceptions and 11 deflections for Michigan, or Notre Dame, that is. 4 touchdowns off of interceptions, so definitely did some work in the pass defense game. Kicking, atrocious. Punting, also atrocious. That's pretty bad, 34 yards. Net, well, the net was 30. Still pretty bad. That's actually worse even. Devin Ford was our leading kick returner. We didn't get any touchdowns, but decent average, I'd say. Jeremiah Love had a punt return for a touchdown. Let's have a look around the league, or really college football, not really the league, but anyways. Garber's very close to 4,000 yards. Carson Beck as well. Dylan Gabriel up there. Curtis Rourke, who actually led Indiana in a win over Michigan, which would be a coup. Riley Leonard, and then Ewers for yardage. Miller Moss just behind them. For touchdowns, the leader was Dylan Gabriel. He had 50 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Tulane's Ty Thompson had 47 and 4. LSU's Nursmeyer, 43 and 8. Yeah, Rourke again, 42 and 9. And then we finally get to Riley Leonard. But if we look by rating, Dylan Gabriel should have been the Heisman winner, I think, 212.8. And then McLeod for Texas State and Quinn Ewers, 202. For rushing, Ollie Gordon the second, followed by Jeremiah Love. Man, Ollie Gordon, crazy season. 7.2 yards per carry, 13 touchdowns. Tulsa's Anthony Watkins had 16 though. Yep, Love was up there for fumbles. A lot of Ollie Gordon's yardage was after contact too. He probably should have been up there in the Heisman race. Trayshawn Holden, the leading receiver. Hawaii's Ashlock, number 2. Mitchell Evans is like way up there for a tight end. There's no tight end anywhere close to him. I wonder when the next tight end would show up. Oh man, we're going way down the list and I still don't see another tight end. There's the next tight end. Kane Barong. 924 yards. Touchdowns, it was Holden, 22. He had a fantastic season, really. A lot of yards after the catch, too. He might have even led. He did lead. That's interesting. This dude had 15 drops. Oof. Oh yeah, I wanted to check the passing stat. How many sacks was the leader? Oh, it was Virginia's Calandria. Interesting. Will Rogers, 39. So yeah, Riley Leonard was way up there, and so was yours. We probably would have led if I hadn't upped the slider for pass blocking. At least I think I upped it. Defensively, they don't have Jatavian Cole because he had 4 or 7 tackles, so he would have led at least of this group. Tackles for a loss, yeah, they don't have any of our players. But yeah, we would have led in all of these stats because for tackles for a loss, it would have been, I guess, Trey Moore or Riley Mills from Notre Dame. Can't remember which one had more. Tackle or sacks, that would have definitely been Trey Moore with 19. I wonder what the college football record is for sacks in a season, because that's got to be way up there. .24, Terrell Suggs. I can't believe it's him. I was not expecting to see Suggs as the leader. That guy, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the Ravens in that era. I do like them now, though, with Lamar Jackson. Alright, I'm going to end this video here, I believe, and then have the SEC Championship in a separate video.